We're going to remove this stock plastic intake and replace it with a carbon fiber intake from Turner Motorsports. Welcome back, everyone. It's good to see your smiling faces here again. I'm Mikey, we're in the garage, and today I want to teach you how to install this carbon fiber intake from Turner Motorsports. It comes in two different finishes where you can get it in either a matte carbon or a glossy finish. You also have the option to get it with or without the lid that covers the filter element on the heat shield box. In my case, I got it with the lid and in the matte carbon finish. And I gotta tell you, this is one of the best looking intakes I've ever seen. To complete this install, you only need a couple tools, so let me show you what you need. For your Allen wrenches, you need a 2.5, a 3, a 4, and a 6. You need a T15 Torx and a flathead screwdriver. That's it. First, we need to remove the stock intake. So grab that flathead screwdriver and loosen up this hose clamp, but don't take it off. Now for this recirc line, pinch the top and the bottom. You'll only have this connector if your car is an automatic. If yours is a manual, on the Turner intake, it'll come with a plug to plug this up. Next is the mass airflow sensor, and just push down the little pin. Pull it off. This is the super easy part. Just pull it out of the end of the hose. Just pop it off this grommet in the front. And it's only held in place by a few grommets on this side. And just pull it out. Now we have to use our T15 Torx and remove the mass airflow sensor. Once you have the screws out, gently remove this. I'm going to take this in the house because I have my whole Turner intake sitting on the kitchen table. I'm going to work on it in there. When you order the intake, you'll either get 1 or 2 boxes. If you get an enclosed system, the second smaller box will be the carbon lid. All right, so I've got all this stuff. Let's put it together. First thing I'm going to tackle is the heat shield with the reflected gold sticker. It all lines up real nice and neat. I'm going to put this on first. I suggest starting over here on the left side like I do. Just take your time and remove a little bit of the backing as you go. And the reflected gold was actually a little bit tougher than I thought it was going to be. So you can pick it up and move it a little bit if you need to, but obviously be careful so you don't tear it. The intake pipe has a cut in a specific shape to help you get the mass airflow sensor in correctly. Just be careful as you slide it in so you don't destroy the sensor. Here are the two 2.5mm screws. They're the ones with the round head. Make sure there's no gap between the housing and the sensor. It should sit flush. Next, we have to install the 2 metal posts that fit in the grommets holding the heat shield in place in the vehicle. You have this washer-like piece, which is cut at an angle with a 4mm screw that matches it. Tighten it down with a 4mm on one side and a 6mm on the other. The other one goes on the bottom right over here. Make sure you tighten it down. If you're doing the enclosed intake, in the box that has the lid in it, you're going to get these parts, a couple grommets, and this little bracket. This bracket mounts right here on the inside. This is what is actually going to hold part of the lid in place. So you have 2 screws and 2 washers. These are 3mm Allens. Just grab your Allen wrench and tighten them down. Pop this grommet in. This piece that has a hole in it, it's going to go right here. Just wedge it in there. If you're doing the open intake that doesn't have the lid on the top, this solid little rubber booyah is going to clip into here. And these 2 little small ones that are solid as well, if you don't have the lid, you're going to put those in the holes here. Now I'm going to head out to the garage. Then you have this clip, and make sure it's oriented in this direction where this threaded side is on the side towards the front of the car. And it clips on right here onto the end of the frame. Next, grab this funny looking guy. This is going to snap onto the part of the frame rail right here. To put the heat shield in now, this plug is going to go into the grommet, the large piece we snapped onto the frame rail. We've got this plug that's going to fit in the grommet that's already here on the car. At least mine already had it. And then this, where we put this rubber washer, needs to line up where we put this clip on. And you need to wedge it in so this part goes under the snorkel from the intake. Just make sure you get all the plugs into the grommets. Then we need to grab the 4mm screw and screw it in through this rubber grommet into the clip we put on the end of the frame rail here. And this is that 4mm screw. It's the one that looks like it has a washer on the end. Doesn't have to be too crazy because you're just going to push it through the rubber grommet if you go too tight. So just snug it up so it doesn't wiggle. Now we've got our intake tube. So I'm going to push it in the heat shield first. Gently, not to scratch it all up. Put the other end of the carbon fiber intake into the tube here, but don't tighten down the clamp yet. Next, we've got the two 3mm screws with washers to attach the intake tube to the heat shield. Try to be careful with these recirc lines. Depending on how old your car is, this plastic gets brittle and these parts aren't cheap. If you have an automatic, this line that connects to your intake, I think is about $75 at the BMW dealer. And plug in the mass airflow sensor. Then come tighten this hose clamp. Make sure you grab your flathead again. If you're running the closed intake, you need to use the thinner strip of rubber here, and it's going to fit over the edge here. If you're running the open intake, you're going to use the thicker rubber seal and run it on the top here. And there's a little bit of a gap back here, so I'm going to use some of the thicker stripping, and I'm going to put that back here. So this nipple here, you'll have to rock it into place, and it'll fit into the hole on the side of the heat shield. And then these two pins go into the grommets here. I'll put some links in the description below to this piece. Check them out. If you want, pick one up. There you go. A pretty simple install for an intake. And like I've said before, I'm not into the cosmetic stuff. You know, I'd rather put my money on performance parts. But this performance part just happens to look really damn good. With this matte finish, the reflected gold on the side of the heat shield there, this is just one of the best looking intakes I've ever seen. I hope the video was helpful for you. If you needed help with the install, or if you just wanted to come check this thing out. And if you follow me on Instagram, you should have already seen pictures of the Turner Motorsports stepped intercooler I picked up last week. Give me about a week or so and I'll post that DIY video for everyone. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, you're missing out on life. Hope to see you again soon in my next video. I got a couple boxes to open up. Stuff I picked up last week. I got some stainless brake lines and a wheel stud conversion kit. There's something else in there too, I forget. Anyways. Cool? Later. And there you go. Turner Motorsports, matte carbon enclosed intake. But you know what would look good right next to it? A matte carbon engine cover. Just saying.